Welcome to the launch post and thanks for visiting. So, the concept of the Gini app is simple. Use information technology to provide more transparency and better information in the marketplace for consumers. First, we need to agree that economic inequality is a problem. Richard Wilkinson points out that in highly developed societies where the gap between the rich and poor is lower, have better health, fewer social problems such as violence, drug abuse, teenage births, mental illness, and obesity. Also, economic inequality has an impact on social mobility. In more unequal countries like Great Britain and the United States, it matters more who your father is than in Scandinavian countries. If you step back from any political affiliations and just think about it, it makes sense. He also jokes that if you want to live the American dream, you better move to Denmark. Currently, I manage a corporate restaurant and see the reality each day. Since the store is new, the majority of the employees start out at minimum wage, $7.25 an hour in Georgia. The total wages of the employees, including 3 salaried managers at the store, is only about 20% of net sales. Also, currently the store is sending the corporate office around 30% in net profit. Many of the employees are in some sort of government assistance. Some are trying to invest in themselves by continuing their education. Almost all find it difficult to pay their bills and survive on such a meager wage. One of my employees has ovarian cancer. She doesn't have health coverage and can't work as much because of her condition. So when you have those kinds of problems, that's obviously going to play to any future problems you may have. I also believe that there's a connection between employee pay and the connection that an employer has to his employees, and I've experienced it firsthand. When I was in college, I worked as a crew member for a franchise restaurant location. Now I manage a corporate restaurant location of the same restaurant brand. Both stores, the franchise and corporate locations, have similar sales numbers. However, I was paid much more as a crew member for the franchisee than I started out making as a manager of the corporate location. That's unacceptable, and I think many consumers would agree if they actually knew the facts. The way I see it, there are 2 potential movements to solve the problem of income inequality in this country. We can take a top-down approach where we demand the government tax individuals who make huge fortunes. I don't think this is a very attractive or efficient option. On the other hand, we could take the bottom-up approach by allowing individuals to decide with their purchasing dollars who they will support. So how do we do it? Last year I was sitting in on a pitch session with Wed3, which is an angel investment group in Charlotte, North Carolina. During one of the pitches, a potential investor made a comment. He said, "Have you ever heard of the golden rule?" The guy giving the pitch was hesitant and nodded, not sure how to respond to that. The pitchmaker, the investor, explained, "You know, the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules." This brought some laughter to the room, but I'm sure much of the laughter had a measure of discomfort about it. There were probably about 10 different people in the room looking for funding. They knew that their chances of acquiring funding were already small, but if they did get funding, they would also be required to submit themselves to the rules and whims of their investors. The Gini app flips the idea of the golden rule around. Much like an entrepreneur is looking for funding, businesses are competing for consumers to spend dollars on their goods and services. With that mindset in place, consumers with better information can start demanding that businesses who want their business play by the rules of the consumer. Using the information that the Gini app provides, consumers could start taking their purchasing dollars to businesses who take care of their employees and have a more equitable business model. The purpose of this blog is to attract, inform, and mobilize individuals who share the same vision of where we are and where we could go. I'll need capital to develop a minimum viable product, and as soon as the Gini app has interest from 1,000 people, I will launch a crowdfunding campaign to raise the necessary capital. You can stay involved and informed in a number of different ways. Subscribe to the email list on the link on the right side of your page, or feel free to follow the Gini app on Facebook or Twitter. Stay tuned for updates and posts explaining the concept. Thanks for visiting.